Greetings everyone, Tim Anderson here, aka Renfail, and welcome to the latest session of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the game that has been pretty much consuming my existence for the last couple of days. We will be taking a short break this evening for some Lord of the Rings online with my brother, but in the meantime, I wanted to jump in and just kind of give an overview of kind of how I feel about England so far, because it's been pretty amazing. For those of you who are just stumbling upon this for the first time, or you've watched a couple of videos, you like what you see, subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon to get updates for when I go live with more content. And stick around because I got a lot more Assassin's Creed Valhalla coming down the pipeline over the rest of November into December as we work our way towards Cyberpunk 2077, which is going to be the next PS4 game that we pick up. And I play alongside Lord of the Rings Online, Pillars of Eternity 2, other great RPGs, and even an occasional NBA 2K21, because I actually do really like that game. So, one of the things I want to talk about this morning is just England. England is overwhelming. In a good way. I originally, before I came here, I told everybody I'm doing the completionist version of this game. So, I spent about 11 and a half hours. I could have spent a little bit more, but that was my cutoff point, basically. It took me 11 and a half hours to get through Norway. And there was a couple areas that I just couldn't complete because the Animus wouldn't let me go beyond certain areas, even though there were still POIs that I had yet to complete. I have now been in England for around, I want to say around 8 hours. I would have to double check my actual timestamps, so I'm just going off of, I know like yesterday, for example, I spent about 6 hours yesterday in 2 different sessions just exploring England in its entirety. And I shouldn't say in its entirety, exploring my small region of England, and going from there. And here's what I want to show everybody, because I haven't done really any quests yet. All I've done is a few raids. I've built a few buildings on my settlement. Since I'm doing the completionist version, my objective here is not to complete main quest lines and power through the game. It is to maximize my settlement, clear all the treasure, clear all the mysteries, clear the map, do side quests, world events, so on and so forth. And only after I've cleared an area am I going to move forward with the storyline. And then when the storyline takes me to a new area, I will then clear that area before I move the storyline on to the next area. So, with that being said, let's open up the map here. So, the 2 areas that are level appropriate for me right now are, and I'm going to butcher these names, Leicestershire and Grantsbridgeshire. So these are the 2 areas that have a suggested power ranking of 20. So you go over to Lincolnshire and that's 160. Drop down into Oxfordshire, it's 90. Scropeshire, 130. You see what I mean? East Anglia is 55, which I could technically start that now because I have, I'm in that range. But here's something to consider. I have not yet even finished getting, because Leicestershire, we've got 3 more synchronization points right here that we haven't yet uncovered, and then I haven't even gone up here and done the rest of this zone yet up the river. And then if we come down, I've pretty much done all the other synchronization points, but you see all these, the white points are mysteries, or the blue points are mysteries, excuse me, and then there's white points, which are mysteries, and then there's wealth. And if I'm on the kind of, I haven't zoomed in yet is what I'm getting at. I'm on the high level version of the map, and you can see after basically 6 hours of gameplay and just running around doing a couple raids and unlocking, let's say I've unlocked 3/4 of the synchronization points for this zone. I have not even scratched the surface. The only area that I have completely cleared of treasures and everything else is the area right around Ravensthorpe, which is my town, my settlement here. So I've cleared everything around here. You can see in the mountains there's no treasure or anything left like that. And then coming over here west, I've mostly cleared stuff over here. Now, I haven't cleared all of it because I couldn't figure out how to get underground to this one. And this seems to be another area. I couldn't get to the NPC because the doors are locked and I don't have a key. And when I just out of frustration went looking online, it looks like it's associated with a quest that I have yet to uncover yet. Anyway, so in about 6 hours of gameplay, I've only cleared a couple of tiny sections of the map. You know, this over here by the Alcestra Monastery and around Ravensthorpe. And if we come down here into, what's the other kingdom? There's an altar that I can't go. Oh, and I guess I've cleared some of this over here, but not all of it. There's still a couple of points here. Looks like there's Ernieton and just all this stuff. So I've got, if I had to estimate, you know, there's probably 20 hours of gameplay left for me to even complete these two little shires, Granspitch Shire and Leicester Shire. So when I look at that, it just kind of boggles my mind considering that if you then bring yourself out of the map, we've got all of Northumbria, we've got all of Mercia, we've got Wessex, we've got East Anglia, we've got all these kingdoms to explore. Then there's the cities. You've got Winchester, London, you know, it keeps going on. So, and then Jorvik. So I'm kind of just blown away by the sheer scope of this. Now, I previously was also blown away by Assassin's Creed Odyssey in terms of the size of the map and all the islands and everything else. And supposedly they took some of, there were some people who complained that they felt that Odyssey was too big. It was too spread out. Like, but a part of that I think was, they had the ship-based combat. So you were fighting on your way in between going to the different islands, and you had different quests that you could get for hunting down pirates and merchant ships and all those other things. So I think that there's something to be said for, there was a lot of reasons for the map to be that big and for there to be that much open space in between the islands in Odyssey. Now, I know that they took that to heart when they made this game because they didn't want it to be quite so spread out. So they've, it's all pretty much one landmass here. But what blows my mind is that if I'm going to get, let's say I get conservatively, let's say I get 20 hours out of these two shires. Each shire is somewhat differently sized, but if you can estimate, 10 hours per shire, how many shires are there? Like, it's ridiculous. We got East Anglia, we've got Lincolnshire, we've got Erwickshire, Nottinghamshire, Shropshire. I can't pronounce all these names worth a damn. Erwickshire. Like, the idea that, I kind of estimated earlier that I was going to get between 80 to 100 hours of gameplay out of this game, because that's about what I got out of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I got 80 hours of gameplay out of my first run through of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And I'm wondering now, as I begin to look at the scope of England, if I'm not going to get a minimum of 100 hours out of this game. Reserving judgment, obviously, until I've continued to work on things, but there's so many optional activities. You've got exploration, of course, you've got the raids, then you've got the settlement. And, in the settlement here, I haven't even gotten to this point yet, but there's even...
I see you, old friend.
There's this option here to build a shipyard, which allows you to then customize your longship, which I'm assuming is only going to be with cosmetics, because it's not like the ship in Odyssey, where you were actually fighting with the ship. This just takes you up and down the river as you raid. But then there's the main raids, and then there's settlements that you find along the river that you can raid. Like yesterday when I was going forward to do one of the main quests, I stumbled upon a little village along the coast, and I was able to raid that one as well. So it's like just massive amounts of content here, and it has kind of, it's overwhelming to me in terms of just the sheer amount of things to do and the size and scope of England so far. I want to get up here and get a bit of a screenshot. As I finish up this video here. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I kind of obsess over my screenshots. Alright, let's go in here and give some depth of field to the bird. Let's add some fog to this. Not quite so heavy. Let's just a little light fog, something like that. Let's take that screenshot. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I like that. So overall, as I said, I've been thoroughly enjoying my time in the game so far, but it definitely feels like England is huge. It feels overwhelmingly huge. There's so much stuff to do that I'm almost... It's kind of like, well, what do I do? And then last night, as I was wrapping up, I then uncovered this section of the game, which is similar to what were they called? Can't remember what they were called in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but it's basically the Order, and you would go around assassinating members of the Order, and you're working your way through. So you have the same system here, or a very similar system, in that you get clues to uncover the location of these individuals, and then you can take them out and you earn things. And then there's mercenaries and underlings and so on and so forth, and you're working your way down to this big Grand Magister of the Order of the Ancients. So there's this whole aspect of the game too, which is optional side quest content. So I'm just sitting here like it seems like every time I sit down to play this game, and I'm still in the first, I think I'm in the first 20 hours of gameplay. We're going to look at this real quick because it'll show me on my Ubisoft Connect. I just feel like every time I sit down and play this game, I'm uncovering new layers of content and more things to do. I mean, because there's also fishing and hunting, which I haven't even built the fishing and hunting lodges yet, or the bakery, or the grain farm, or the chickenry, like hatchery, whatever it's called. I haven't done any of these things yet, and all of these buildings in my settlement are going to give me more things to do and more optional content. And then there's also, I've read that when you build the apothecary, you can drink potions and go on basically trips to Asgard and things. So it's very amazing. Yeah, so I'm 16 hours in basically at this point, and over, I think this is session number 6. So I've been splitting those sessions up into roughly 2 to 3 hours as I play, and yeah, 16 hours in, and just in terms of um, the game itself. Norway felt big. England feels massive. And it's a good thing. Like, I'm not complaining about the overwhelmingly large nature of England. And you have to admit, it's absolutely breathtaking. Can't complain about it. I mean, I thought Odyssey looked good. This game looks even better.
And what can I do for you
and
on this fine day?
I'm only playing it on a PS4. Like, I've seen PS5 videos in 4K, and it's just drool. So hopefully you guys enjoy. Hopefully you're following along. If you haven't already, again, please subscribe, support the channel, hit the bell icon to get more updates when I go live with new content, and stick around because I got a lot more Assassin's Creed Valhalla content coming out over the rest of November into December as we work towards Cyberpunk 2077. And of course, stick around. Tonight, I've got Lord of the Rings Online with my brother. We play every Monday and Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Central, playing our Hobbits and Lord of the Rings Online. So hopefully you enjoy. See everybody in the next episode.